The alarm had never gone off before. Not in Krill's 15 years of service at Orbital Defense Station Theta 9. The Galactic Confederation had known peace for over 1,000 cycles, and the station's warning systems were just for show. Until today. Krill's four-fingered hands moved quickly across the glowing control panel. Something was coming. Something fast. Unknown vessel approaching from Sector 7. He called out to his commander. His voice was steady, but his inner eyelids blinked rapidly, a sure sign of stress his species couldn't hide. Commander Vox floated over, his gravity harness humming softly. "Show me." The main screen lit up with a vision that made no sense to either of them. The ship was unlike any design in the Confederation database. It had smooth lines, but also sharp angles. It looked both beautiful and dangerous. "They're not responding to hails," said the communications officer. "I tried all standard frequencies and protocols." Vox frowned, his facial ridges deepening. "Send the alert to Central Command. Tell them we have an unidentified vessel entering protected space." The ship continued forward, not slowing down. Its engines glowed with a strange blue light that the sensors couldn't properly read. "Power readings are unusual," Krill said, studying his screens. "They're using some kind of energy our systems don't recognize." Central Command didn't wait long to respond. Within minutes, 3 defense cruisers jumped into the area, their weapons charged and ready. "The unknown vessel is being hailed by the defense fleet," reported the communications officer. Still no response. Krill watched as the mystery ship suddenly changed course. It wasn't running away. It was adjusting its approach, moving in a pattern that seemed to test the Confederation's reaction time. "We're receiving a transmission," the communications officer shouted. It's not using any known language." The sounds that came through the speakers were harsh and quick. The ship's computer tried to analyze them but failed. "Warning shots authorized," came the order from Central Command. The lead defense cruiser fired energy pulses that deliberately missed the unknown vessel. It was the universal warning. "Stop or be stopped." The response was immediate and shocking. The unknown ship accelerated, not away from the defense fleet, but straight toward them. And it was fast, faster than anything Krill had ever seen. "They're charging weapons," Krill shouted as his sensors finally made sense of the energy buildup within the foreign vessel. The first shots from the unknown ship hit one of the defense cruisers. They weren't fatal blows, but they disabled the cruiser's main weapons. "All stations, battle alert." Commander Vox ordered. The station's defense systems came online as the full fleet was summoned. The mysterious ship moved like nothing Krill had ever seen. It twisted and turned, avoiding most of the Confederation's fire while striking with impressive accuracy. It wasn't trying to destroy. It was disabling weapons and engines with surgical precision. New information from Central Command. The communications officer reported. "They've identified the origin. It's from a system we've never contacted before. The species calls themselves humans." The human ship took damage but kept fighting. The Confederation's supposedly impenetrable defensive line was falling apart. 3 more cruisers arrived, only to find themselves outmaneuvered by the single foreign vessel. Krill stared in disbelief as the ship broke through the final line of defense and headed straight toward their station. "Impossible," whispered Commander Vox. The station's emergency system activated automatically. Red lights flashed everywhere as a computerized voice announced what no one had ever expected to hear. "Intruder al human war vessel has VUREACHET our defenses. All personnel to emergency stations." Krill looked out the viewport and saw the human ship clearly for the first time. It was damaged but still moving with purpose. And somehow, Krill knew that everything was about to change forever. Captain Marcus Reed gripped the arms of his command chair as the CSS Harbinger shuddered from another hit. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. "Shields at 42%, called Ellis from the engineering station. Her voice was calm despite the chaos. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Reed nodded grimly. "Talia, any luck with their communications?" Talia shook her head, her fingers dancing across her console. "I'm still trying to decode their language patterns. Their transmission structure is unlike anything in our database." Another blast rocked the ship. Reed had never wanted this. The Harbinger was supposed to be an exploration vessel, looking for resources and potential habitable worlds. Earth needed help, not another war. "Tom, get us through their line," Reed ordered his pilot. "We can't turn back now." Tom's hands moved with practiced skill across the controls, executing evasive pattern Delta. "Sir." 6 months ago, Reed had stood in a conference room on Earth, listening to grim-faced officials explain humanity's situation. Climate collapse had accelerated. Food production was failing. The water wars had left millions dead. Earth was dying, and humanity needed a miracle. The Harbinger was that hope, a ship with the most advanced technology humans had ever built, sent to find something, anything, that could save their home. "Captain, I think I've got something," Talia said suddenly. Their initial transmissions, they weren't threats. They were greetings. Reed felt his stomach drop. "You're sure?" "Not completely, but the patterns suggest standard contact protocols. They were trying to talk to us." Another hit, harder this time. The lights on the bridge flickered. "Hull breach on Deck 3. Ellis shouted. "Emergency systems responding." Reed's mind raced. They had misunderstood the aliens' intentions, and now they were in the middle of a fight they never wanted. But it was too late to stop. They were surrounded, damaged, and deep in unknown territory. Tom pushed through their final defensive line. "Head for that space station." "Sir." Tom looked back with wide eyes. "Do it. We need to show them we're not here to destroy, just to survive." The Harbinger surged forward, its engines straining. The alien vessels fired continuously now, but Tom's piloting skills kept them from landing direct hits. "Captain," Ellis called over the ship-wide communication, "the quantum drive is damaged. Even if we get out of this, we won't be jumping home anytime soon." Reed absorbed this news with grim determination. No way home, no backup coming. Just 87 crew members alone in alien space, representing all of humanity's hopes. "Talia, broadcast on all frequencies. Use simple mathematical sequences first, then our first contact package. Make it clear we don't want to fight." The alien station grew larger on the view screen. It was beautiful in its way, a spiraling structure of metal and light. "They're launching smaller vessels," reported the tactical officer. "Likely fighter craft. Maintain course. Weapons on defensive settings only," Reed ordered. "Target engines and weapon systems if necessary. No lethal force." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They had trained for first contact scenarios, but not like this. Not running a blockade under fire. "Sir, I'm picking up transmissions between their vessels," Talia said. "They're calling us humans. They've identified our species somehow." Reed nodded. At least they know who they're shooting at. The Harbinger shook again as a blast hit their starboard side. Warning klaxons blared. "Shields at 28%. Ellis's voice was tense now. "Captain, we can't." "We can," Reed interrupted. "We will. Earth is counting on us." As they approached the alien station, Reed could see the intricate details of its construction. So different from human designs, yet recognizably built with purpose and intelligence. The aliens were organized, advanced. Perhaps they had what Earth needed, if Reed could only stop this battle and start talking. "All hands," he called over the ship-wide communication. "Prepare for possible boarding actions. Non-lethal responses only. Remember our mission. We're here to find friends, not make enemies." The CSS Harbinger pushed deeper into alien territory, trailing debris and venting atmosphere from its wounds. Behind them lay a scattered defensive fleet, ahead an uncertain welcome. And far away, A dying Earth waited for news that might never come. Admiral Vork stood before the holographic display, his slender gray fingers clasped behind his back. The images showed the human ship's path of destruction through their defense lines. 6 damaged cruisers, 18 disabled fighters, all from a single alien vessel. Unprecedented, he said, his voice low and controlled. In my 200 cycles of service, I have never seen such efficiency. The gathered officers shifted uncomfortably. None wanted to speak first after a defeat so complete. The human vessel has taken refuge in the Darren asteroid field, reported Commander Len, the intelligence officer. Her scaled skin shimmered under the bright lights of the command center. Their ship sustained significant damage during the breakthrough. Vorks nodded. Good. They're wounded and hiding. But make no mistake, this is just the beginning. He enlarged the image of the human ship, rotating it to show the battle damage. Look at their design. Every part serves multiple purposes. Their weapons are precise, not meant for destruction but for disabling. This is not a primitive species stumbling into our territory. This is a calculated incursion. Krill, newly assigned to Vorks's flagship, studied the display with growing unease. He had witnessed the human ship's approach firsthand from Defense Station Theta 9. Something about this didn't add up. Admiral, he said hesitantly, the human vessel could have destroyed our ships. They chose not to. All eyes turned to him. Vorks's gaze was particularly cold. Security Officer Krill, is it? You suggest we show gratitude that the humans merely crippled our fleet rather than annihilating it. Krill straightened his posture. I suggest their restraint might indicate something other than hostile intent. Vorks dismissed the comment with a wave of his hand. Tactical considerations only. They are alone in our territory. Total destruction would guarantee our full military response. The Admiral turned to the gathered officers. I want a hunter-killer group formed immediately. 5 battle cruisers, 10 destroyer escorts. We will find this human ship and capture it if possible. Destroy it if necessary. Inside the Darren asteroid field, the CSS Harbinger drifted between 2 massive rocks, its external lights dimmed. The ship's automated repair systems worked silently, sealing hull breaches and rerouting damaged power conduits. In the engineering section, Ellis crawled through a narrow maintenance shaft, manual welder in hand. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she fused a cracked coolant pipe. Ellis to bridge, she called through her communicator. I've patched the primary cooling system, but the quantum drive is still offline. We need specialized materials to repair the containment chamber. On the bridge, Reed acknowledged the report with a grim nod. Understood. Do what you can. Talia worked furiously at her communication station, sorting through the alien transmissions they had intercepted. Captain, I've made progress with their language. Their artificial translators are beginning to recognize our linguistic patterns as well. Reed moved to her station. Can we send them a clear message? I think so. Simple concepts at least. Tell them we come in peace. Tell them we're sorry for the misunderstanding. Tell them we need help. As Talia prepared the message, the tactical officer suddenly tensed. Captain, I'm detecting energy signatures at the edge of the asteroid field. Multiple vessels, moving in search patterns. Reed didn't need the tactical display to understand what was happening. They're hunting us. Across the bridge, faces showed the same realization. They couldn't run, couldn't fight, and couldn't hide forever. 87 humans, alone in alien space, with Earth's future hanging in the balance. New plan, Reed said after a moment of thought. Talia, prepare a message for tight beam transmission. We need to reach someone who will listen. Tom, plot a course through the densest part of the asteroid field. We need time. What about the pursuers? Asked the tactical officer. Reed looked at the display showing the approaching alien fleet. We can't outfight them. We need to outsmart them. He turned to address the entire bridge crew. Remember our mission. Earth needs allies, not enemies. We have to find a way to talk instead of fight. As the Harbinger powered up its engines, Telia's console pinged with an incoming signal. "Captain," she said, surprise evident in her voice, "we're being hailed. It's a single ship on the far side of the asteroid field." "Put it through." The view screen changed to show an alien face, similar to those they had seen before, but with darker skin and curious eyes. It spoke, and the computer translated haltingly. "Human vessel. I am Captain Dren. I would speak with you. Alone." Reed stared at the alien face on the screen. Captain Dren looked different from the other aliens they had encountered. The scales around his eyes were darker, and a series of small ridges ran along the sides of his head. But it was the look in his eyes that caught Reed's attention. There was curiosity there, not fear or anger. "This could be a trap," whispered Tom from the pilot's station. Reed nodded slightly but made his decision. "Captain Dren, I am Captain Marcus Reed of the Earth ship Harbinger. We will talk." The alien ship, smaller than the Confederation cruisers but sleek and well-armed, guided them to a dense cluster of asteroids. Sheltered from long-range scanners, the two vessels drifted close to each other. "He's requesting permission to come aboard with one assistant," Talia reported. "Their translator is quite good." Reed looked around at his bridge crew. "Prepare the meeting room. Security team on standby. Weapons set to stun only." 20 minutes later, Reed watched as Captain Dren and a slender female alien stepped through the airlock. Dren's eyes moved quickly, taking in every detail of the human ship. The female held a small device that hummed softly. "Welcome aboard the Harbinger," Reed said, trying to keep his voice steady. This was humankind's first proper alien meeting. History in the making. "Your ship is remarkable," Dren replied through his translator. "Unlike any design in our records. I am Dren, explorer captain. This is Terra, diplomat from the inner worlds." Terra stepped forward. "We have little time. Admiral Vorks hunts you with a battle fleet. He believes you are the vanguard of an invasion." Reed led them to the meeting room where Ellis and Talia were waiting. On the table lay a simple Earth meal, fruit, bread, and water, a gesture of peace from one species to another. "We are not invaders," Reed said once they were seated. "We are explorers, looking for resources and potential allies. Our world is in trouble." Dren tilted his head. "Yet your ship fought through our defenses with military precision." "A misunderstanding. We thought your warning shots were an attack. By the time we realized our mistake, it was too late to stop." Terra's large eyes studied Reed carefully. "Why come to our space? The galaxy is vast." Reed hesitated, then decided on complete honesty. "Our star charts showed your systems as resource-rich and populated by advanced civilizations. Earth is dying. Climate collapse, resource depletion. We need help to save our home." Ellis spoke up, her engineer's passion overcoming her caution. "We can offer technology exchange. Our quantum drive alone could revolutionize your travel capabilities." "The drive that is now damaged," observed Dren, surprising the humans with his knowledge. "We monitored your communications," explained Terra, seeing their surprise. "Your encryption is unfamiliar to us." In the silence that followed, a small alert sounded from Dren's belt. He checked a device, his expression darkening. "Vork's fleet is changing search patterns. They will find us soon." Reed looked at the aliens, seeing the moment of decision approaching. "Captain Dren, Ambassador Terra, we need your help, not just to escape, but to establish communication with your people. Earth needs this alliance." Terra and Dren exchanged glances, having a silent conversation, with subtle movements of their head ridges. Finally, Dren spoke. "I believe you, human. Your actions during the battle showed restraint. You disabled rather than destroyed. But Vorks and others like him will never listen while you run." "What do you suggest?" asked Reed. "Come with us to my ship," said Terra. "We will travel to the diplomatic outpost on Valen Station. There you can present your case to authorities who might listen." "And the Harbinger?" Ellis asked. Your crew must hide it deeper in the asteroid field, Dren replied. If Vorks finds your ship, he will destroy it, regardless of orders. Reed considered the proposal. Leave his ship and crew to gamble everything on these two aliens' word. It went against everything in his training. Yet he saw no better option. Reed, Talia said quietly, the Universal Translation Matrix is showing high truthfulness indicators in their speech patterns. Reed made his decision. I will come with you. My first officer will command in my absence. As they prepared to leave, Dren moved closer to Reed. Your people fought well, human. I am curious. How would you have fared if you had meant to destroy rather than disable? Reed looked the alien captain in the eyes. Let's hope we never have to find out. Dren's ship moved silently through space, its stealth systems active. Inside, Reed sat in the small command center, watching the stars blur past. The alien vessel was faster than he had expected. Another surprise from these Confederation beings. Your technology is impressive, Reed said to Dren, who stood nearby monitoring their course. As is yours, the alien captain replied. Our analysts are still trying to understand how your quantum drive works. Reed smiled slightly. If all goes well, we'll show you. Terra entered the command center, her movements graceful despite the ship's occasional turbulence. Valen Station has acknowledged our approach request, but demands more information about our guest. Tell them the minimum, Dren advised. Some members of the diplomatic corps share Vorks' views on potential threats. Reed noticed the subtle tension between the two aliens. You're taking a risk helping me, aren't you? Dren's head ridges flattened, a sign Reed was beginning to recognize as indication of serious thought. I have spent my life exploring the edges of Confederation space. I have seen 28 species make first contact with us. None have shown your capabilities or your restraint. Is that good or bad? Reed asked. It is interesting, Dren replied. Interesting things are worth protecting. A sudden alarm sounded from the control panel. Dren moved quickly to check it, his movements becoming sharp with tension. 2 battle cruisers on intercept course. Vorks must have predicted our destination. Reed stood, adrenaline surging. Can we outrun them? Not to Valen Station. Dren's fingers moved across the controls. We must change course. Where to? Asked Terra, her diplomatic calm showing cracks of concern. Dren hesitated only a moment. The Forbidden Zone. Terra's eyes widened. Dren, no. The Council will. The Council is not here, Dren interrupted. And the human will not survive if Vorks catches us. Reed looked between them. What's the Forbidden Zone? A region of space where an ancient civilization once lived, explained Terra reluctantly. It is restricted by Confederation law. No one may enter without special permission. But Vorks will not follow, added Dren. The naval blockade of the zone is not under his command. It gives us time. Minutes later, the small ship accelerated toward a section of space that looked no different to Reed's eyes. But as they approached, he saw what looked like a scattered line of small stations, guard posts protecting whatever lay beyond. Sending clearance codes now, Dren said. My explorer status allows brief entry for research purposes. The guard posts made no attempt to stop them as they passed through the invisible line. Once beyond, Reed could see why the zone was forbidden. Massive debris fields stretched in all directions, the remnants of planets, stations, and ships of alien design. What happened here? He asked, unable to hide his awe at the devastation. The ancients destroyed themselves in a war unlike anything the galaxy has seen since, said Terra. Their weapons could crack planets. The Confederation was formed partly in response to discovering this graveyard. Reed felt a chill. Humanity's wars had nearly destroyed Earth, but not on this scale. Not yet. We will shelter here briefly, Dren explained. I have a research outpost established in a stable region. As they navigated deeper into the zone, Reed noticed something strange. Some of the debris was moving, not just drifting with natural momentum, but changing course deliberately. "Dren," he said quietly, "those fragments are being controlled." Dren nodded. "Automated defense systems, still functioning after thousands of cycles. This is why few come here. The technology is dangerous but valuable." "Like us," Reed said with sudden understanding. "That's why you're helping me. You think humans have something valuable to offer. Your quantum drive alone would transform our transportation systems," Terra admitted. "But more importantly, you represent something the Confederation needs." "What's that?" Dren guided the ship toward a small station nestled inside a hollow asteroid. "Fresh thinking. New approaches. The Confederation has grown stable but stagnant. Your people solved problems differently." As they docked with the hidden research station, Reed's communicator beeped. A message from the Harbinger, somehow reaching through the interference of the debris field. "Captain," came Ellis's voice, broken but audible. "Vorx's forces have found us. We're under attack." Reed's blood turned cold. His ship, his crew, under attack while he was away. "We need to go back," he said immediately, turning to Dren. "Now." Dren looked at the human captain with new understanding. "Your loyalty to your crew is admirable, but Vorx has a battle fleet. We cannot fight them directly." "I won't abandon my people," Reed insisted. Terra stepped forward. "There may be another way. The Confederation Council must be informed of Vorx's actions. He is violating protocols by attacking without authorization." "That will take too long," Reed said, his voice rising. "My crew is fighting for their lives right now." A plan was forming in Reed's mind, desperate, risky, but possibly their only chance. "Dren, does your outpost have communication equipment powerful enough to reach Confederation Command directly?" The alien nodded. "Yes, but..." "And Terra, as a diplomat, your authentication codes would be recognized by any Confederation vessel, correct?" Terra's head ridges lifted in surprise. "Correct. But what are you?" Reed outlined his plan quickly. They would broadcast evidence of Earth's peaceful intentions along with Terra's diplomatic authorization codes demanding a ceasefire. Simultaneously, they would make a run for the Harbinger in Dren's ship. "It's our only chance," Reed finished. "We expose Vorx's unauthorized aggression while physically intervening." Inside the hidden research station, they worked feverishly. Dren activated powerful transmitters while Reed recorded his message. Short, direct, and honest. He explained Earth's situation, the misunderstanding at first contact, and their desire for peaceful relations. "Transmission ready," Dren announced. "But Vorx's ships will detect us the moment we broadcast. We'll lose our head start." Reed nodded grimly. "Do it." The message went out, spreading across Confederation channels, breaking into secured military frequencies with Terra's override codes. Then they ran for Dren's ship. As they pulled away from the research station, alarms immediately sounded. "Two cruisers changing course to intercept us," Dren reported. They were waiting at the edge of the forbidden zone. The small ship accelerated, pushing its engines to maximum. Reed stood behind Dren, watching the tactical display as the larger ships gave chase. "How long until we reach the Harbinger?" he asked. 20 minutes at current speed," Dren replied. "The cruisers will intercept us before then." Reed studied the display, noting the positions of all ships. His years of tactical training kicked in. "There," he pointed to a dense debris field. "Can we use that for cover?" Dren's eyes narrowed as he considered it. "Risky. The automated defenses might target us too." "Better odds than against those cruisers," Reed argued. Dren made his decision, banking the ship sharply toward the field of ancient wreckage. Behind them, the cruisers adjusted course to follow. What followed was a dangerous game of hide and seek. Dren's ship darted between massive chunks of broken planets and shattered ships, using the debris for cover. The pursuing cruisers were more cautious, their larger size making them vulnerable to the automated defense systems. "It's working," Terra said, watching as one cruiser took damage from a suddenly activated defense platform. They're falling behind. But the victory was short-lived. As they emerged from the debris field, a transmission came through from the Harbinger. Talia's voice this time, urgent and frightened. "Captain Reed, Ellis is injured. Vork's forces have boarded. We've repelled them once, but they're preparing another assault. The quantum drive is." The transmission cut off abruptly. Reed looked at his alien allies. "We're out of time." Ahead, they could see the asteroid field where the Harbinger was hidden. Flashes of weapons fire illuminated the darkness. "Dren," Reed said quietly, "I know I'm asking a lot, but I need one more favor." The alien captain turned to him. "You want me to help fight my own people?" Reed nodded. "Only those who are violating your own laws. Vork's has gone rogue. You and I both know it." Dren was silent for a long moment. Then his hands moved across the control panel, activating weapons systems that a research vessel shouldn't possess. "For the record," he said, "I'm not doing this just for you. Vork's has needed to be stopped for a long time." As they approached the battle zone, Reed saw the Harbinger for the first time since he'd left. His ship was damaged but still fighting, using the asteroids for cover just as he trained his crew to do. Against all odds, they were holding their own. "Ready?" asked Dren. Reed nodded, his face set with determination. "Let's bring this to an end." Dren's ship cut through space like a blade, its weapons now fully revealed. What had appeared to be a simple research vessel was actually something much more. An advanced scout ship with military capabilities disguised under civilian markings. "Full attack pattern," Dren ordered his systems. "Target Vork's command vessel only." Reed watched in amazement as the small ship launched a barrage of energy weapons, striking the largest of the Confederation vessels with surgical precision. It wasn't trying to destroy, only to distract. "Now," Reed shouted. The ship dove toward the Harbinger, communications array broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Captain Reed to all Confederation vessels. Cease fire immediately. By order of diplomatic envoy Terra, this conflict is unauthorized." Reed could see his own ship more clearly now. The Harbinger had positioned itself in a narrow gap between two massive asteroids, using the natural protection to defend against attacks from multiple directions. It was a classic Earth defensive strategy, executed perfectly in alien space. "Captain," came Tom's voice over the comms. "Is that really you?" "It's me," Reed confirmed. "Status report. Ellis is wounded but stable. Shields at 18%. We've repelled 2 boarding parties, but Vork's is preparing a third assault. The quantum drive is showing unusual energy readings. Ellis thinks it might be unstable." "Dren," Terra called out. "More ships are arriving." 3 new vessels appeared at the edge of the asteroid field. Larger than Vork's ships, they bore different markings, the symbols of the Confederation Council itself. "The transmission worked," Terra said, relief evident in her voice. "Those are Council security vessels." Vork's ships immediately began to pull back, but the Admiral's command vessel continued its approach toward the Harbinger. A new transmission cut across all frequencies. "This is Admiral Vork's to all vessels. The human ship contains dangerous technology that must be contained. I am acting under emergency protocols." "He's lying," Terra said, anger rising in her voice. "No such protocols exist." Reed saw the danger immediately. He's going to try to destroy the Harbinger before the Council ships can intervene. Dren's ship accelerated again, pushing between Vork's command vessel and the Harbinger. "We cannot outgun him," Dren warned. "We don't need to," Reed replied. "Just keep him busy for 30 more seconds." As Dren engaged Vork's ship in a dangerous close-quarters battle, Reed opened a direct channel to the Harbinger. "Ellis, can you hear me?" The engineer's voice came through, weak but determined. "I'm here, Captain." "The quantum drive. You said it's showing unusual readings. Can you create a controlled energy surge? Something big enough to be detected but not dangerous?" There was a pause, then, "Yes, sir. But why would we?" "Do it now," Reed ordered. Make it look like the drive is about to overload. As Dren's ship took hit after hit from Vork's weapons, the Harbinger's engines began to glow with an intense blue light. Energy readings spiked sharply, creating patterns that any sensor would interpret as a catastrophic drive failure in progress. Vork's ship immediately changed course, pulling away at maximum speed. The approaching council ships also slowed their advance, cautious of the apparent danger. "Now, Ellis," Reed called. The energy surge from the Harbinger collapsed instantly, the readings returning to normal patterns. It had been a perfect bluff. The appearance of danger without actual risk. The council ships closed in rapidly, surrounding Vork's command vessel. A new transmission came through, this one carrying the authority of the highest levels of Confederation government. "This is Council Security Commander Jail. Admiral Vork's, you are ordered to stand down and surrender your vessel." As the standoff resolved itself, Reed finally relaxed his grip on the edge of Dren's control panel. He had gambled everything, his ship, his crew, Earth's future, on this moment. Dren guided his damaged ship toward the Harbinger for docking. "What happens now?" he asked. Reed looked at the alien who had become, against all odds, humanity's first friend among the stars. "Now we talk. Really talk. No weapons, no misunderstandings." 3 days later, Reed stood in the Grand Council chamber on Valen Station. The room was filled with representatives from dozens of Confederation species, all gathered to hear the first official address from a human. Reed looked out at the sea of alien faces, some curious, some cautious, some openly hostile. But in the front row sat Dren, Terra, and even Krill, who had testified against Vork's actions. "People of the Confederation," Reed began, "I come to you from a world in crisis, seeking not conquest, but cooperation. We have much to learn from you, and perhaps something to offer in return." He paused, looking at his new allies. "Our first meeting was marked by misunderstanding and conflict. Let our future be defined by something better, a partnership that benefits us all." As Reed spoke of Earth's challenges and humanity's hopes, a message arrived from the Harbinger. Ellis had successfully repaired the quantum drive. The path home was open again. But Reed knew that this was just the beginning. The real journey, bringing two civilizations together, was only now starting.